Conference, wow. Wait till you hear what I've got to say. You might not be on your feet, but I hope you are. But thanks, Sandra. And thanks, everyone who spoke so passionately in the debate today. And Chair, I take note of the composite. Conference, a year ago, I asked for your help to join the fight to defend the NHS, the ultimate symbol of Ed's One Nation Britain. You couldn't have done more. You helped me mount a Drop the Bill campaign that shook this coalition to its core. Dave's NHS breakup bill was dead in the water until Nick gave it the kiss of life. As Robert said, NHS privatisation, courtesy of the Lib Dems. Don't ever let them forget that. We didn't win, but all was not lost. We reminded people of the strength there still is in this Labour movement of ours when we fight as one, unions and party together for the things we hold in common. We stood up for the thousands of NHS staff, like those with us today, who saw Labour once again defending the values to which they have devoted their working lives. And we spoke for the country, for patients, people everywhere, who truly value the health service Labour created and don't want to see it broken up. Conference, our job now is to give them hope, to put Labour at the heart of a new coalition for the NHS, to set out a Labour alternative to Cameron's market, to make the next election a choice between two futures for the NHS. They inherited from us a self-confident, successful NHS. In just 2 years, they've reduced it to a service demoralised, destabilised, fearful of the future. The N in NHS under sustained attack. A postcode lottery running riot. Older people denied cataract and hip operations. NHS privatisation at a pace and scale never seen before. Be warned. Cameron's great NHS carve-up is coming to your community. As we speak, contracts are being signed in the single biggest act of privatisation the NHS has ever seen. 398 NHS community services all over England, worth over £250 million out to open tender. At least 37 private bidders winning contracts. And yes, friends of Dave amongst the winners. Not the choice of GPs who we were told would be in control, but a forced privatisation ordered from the top. And disgracefully, a secret privatisation, details hidden from the public under, quotes, commercial confidentiality, but exposed today in Labour's NHS check. Our country's most valued institution, broken up, sold off, sold out, all under a news blackout. It's not just community services. From this week, hospitals can earn up to half their income from treating private patients. Already, plans emerging for a massive expansion in private work, meaning longer waits for NHS patients. And here in Greater Manchester, as you've just heard, Arriva, a private bus company, now in charge of your ambulances. When you said 3 letters would be your priority, Mr. Cameron, people didn't realise you meant a business priority for your friends. Conference, I know I have a huge responsibility to you all, to each and every one of you, to challenge it. Every single month until the election, Jamie Reid will use NHS Check to expose the reality. And I know you want us to hit them even harder, and we will. But Conference, I have to tell you this. It's hard to be a shadow when you're up against the invisible man. Hunt Jeremy. The search is on for the missing Health Secretary. A month in the job, but not a word, not a single word from him about the thousands of nursing jobs being lost. Not one word about the crude rationing, older people left without essential treatment. Not a word about moves in the southwest of England to break national pay. Jeremy Hunt might be happy hiding behind trees while the NHS frontline takes a battering. But conference, for as long as I do this job, I will support frontline staff in the NHS and I will defend national pay in the NHS to the hilt. Now, lightweight Jeremy might look harmless, but don't be conned. This is the man who said the NHS should be replaced with an insurance system. The man, as we've heard, who loves the NHS so much, he tried to remove it, the tribute to it, from the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games. Can you imagine the conversation he must have had with Danny Boyle? Danny, if you really must spell NHS with the beds, at least can we have a Virgin Health logo on the uniforms? Never before has the NHS been lumbered with a Secretary of State with so little belief in it. It's almost enough to say, come back Lansley. I get where you're going. But no, he's guilty too. Lansley smashed it up for Hunt to sell it off with a smile. But let me say this to you, Mr. Hunt. If you promise to stop privatising the NHS, I promise never to mispronounce your name. So, conference, we're the NHS's best hope. It's only hope. It's counting on us. We can't let it down. So let's defend it on the ground in every community in England. Andrew Gwynn is building an NHS pledge with our councillors. So come May, our message will be Labour councils, last line of defence for your NHS. But we need to do more. We do need to do more than just that, from just shouting from the sidelines. People across the political spectrum oppose NHS privatisation. We need to reach out to them to build a new coalition for the NHS. I want Labour at its heart, but that means saying more about what we would do. We know working in the NHS is hard right now, when everything you care about is being pulled down around you. I want all the staff to know they have the thanks of this conference for what they do. But thanks are not enough. You need hope in your heart too. So all patients and staff worried about the future, hear me today. The next Labour government will repeal Cameron's Act. We will stop the sell-off, put patients before profits, restore the N in NHS. Stop it. That's good. I thought I'd had my last standing ovation at the start, but that's a relief. But conference, I want you to do something now. Put it on every leaflet you write, every leaflet you put out. Mention it on every doorstep. Make the next election a referendum on Cameron's NHS betrayal, on the man who cynically posed as a friend of the NHS to rebrand the Tories, but who has sold it down the river. In 2015, a vote for Labour will be a vote for the NHS. Labour, the best hope of the NHS, its only hope. And we can save it without another structural reorganisation. I've never had any objection to doctors being more involved in commissioning. It's the creation of a full-blown market I can't accept. So I don't need new organisations. I will simply ask those I inherit to work differently. Not hospital against hospital or doctor against doctor, but working together, putting patients before profits. For that to happen, I must repeal Cameron's market and restore the legal basis of a national, democratically accountable, collaborative NHS. But that's just the start. Now I need your help, conference. My team needs your help to build a Labour vision for the 21st century, for health and care in the century of the ageing society, reflecting on our time in government. We left an NHS with the lowest ever waiting list, highest ever patient satisfaction. Conference always take pride in that record. But where we got it wrong, let's say so. So while we rebuilt the crumbling, damp hospitals we inherited and provided world-class facilities for patients and staff, some PFI deals were poor value for money. At times, care of older people simply wasn't good enough. So we owe it to the people of Stafford to reflect carefully on the Francis report into the failure at Mid-Staffordshire NHS Foundation Trust. And while we brought waiting lists down to record lows with the help of the private sector, at times we let the market in too far. Some tell me markets are the only way forward. Well, my answer to that is simple. Markets deliver fragmentation. The future demands integration. As we get older, our needs become a mix of the social, mental, the physical. But today we meet them through three separate, fragmented systems. In this century of the aging society, that won't do. Older people failed, struggling at home, falling between the gaps, families never getting the peace of mind that they are looking for, being passed from pillar to post, facing an ever-increasing number of providers. Too many older people suffering in hospital, disorientated and dehydrated. When I shadowed a nurse at the Royal Derby, I asked her why this happens, and her answer made an impression. It's not that modern nurses are callous, she said, far from it. It's simply that frail people in their 80s and 90s are in hospitals in ever greater numbers, and the NHS front line, designed for a different age, is in danger of being overwhelmed. Our hospitals are simply not geared to meet people's social or mental care needs. They can take too much of a production line approach to care, seeing the isolated problem, the stroke, the hip, but not the whole person behind it. And the sadness is they are paid by how many older people they admit, not by how many they keep out. If we don't change that, we won't deliver the care people need in an era when there's less money around. It's not about new money. We can get better results for people if we think of one budget, one system, caring for the whole person, with councils and the NHS working closely together. All options must be considered, including the full integration of health and social care. But we don't yet have all the answers. We do have the ambition. So help us build that alternative as Liz Kendall leads our health services policy review. It means ending the care lottery and setting a clear national entitlement to what physical, mental and social care we can afford, so people can see what's free at the point of use and what must be paid for. It means councils developing a more ambitious vision for local people's health, matching housing with health and care need, getting people active, less dependent on care services, linking health with leisure and libraries, prioritising cycling and walking, a 21st century public health policy that Diane Abbott will lead. If we are prepared to accept changes to our hospitals, more care could be provided in the home for free for those with the greatest needs and for those reaching the end of their lives. To the district general hospitals that are struggling, I don't say close or privatise. I say let's help you develop into different organisations, moving into the community and into the home, meeting physical, social and mental needs, integrated care organisations, whole person care, the best route to an NHS with mental health at its heart, not relegated to the fringes. And an NHS with mental health at its heart will be ready to help people deal with the pressure of modern living. Imagine what a step forward this could be. Carers today at their wits' end with worry, battling the system. In future, able to rely on one point of contact to look after their loved one's needs, all of their needs. The older person with advanced dementia, supported by one team at home, not lost on a hospital ward. The devoted people who look after our grands and granddads, mums and dads, brothers and sisters, today exploited in a cut-price minimum wage business, in future held in the same regard as NHS staff. And conference, if we can find a better solution to paying for care, one day, we might be able to replace the cruel dementia taxes we have at the moment and build a system meeting all of a person's needs, mental, physical, social, rooted in NHS values. In the century of the ageing society, just imagine what a step forward that could be. Families with peace of mind, able to work and balance the pressures of caring, the best way to help people work longer and support a productive economy in the 21st century. True human progress of the kind only this party can deliver. So in this century, let's be as bold as Bevan was in the last. Conference, the NHS is at a fork in the road. Two directions, integration or fragmentation. We have chosen our path, not Cameron's fast track to fragmentation, but whole person care, a one nation system built on NHS values, putting people before profit. A Labour vision to give people the hope they need to unite a new coalition for the NHS. The NHS desperately needs a Labour win in 2015. You, me, we are its best hope, its only real hope. It won't last another term of David Cameron. NHS, 3 letters, not here soon. The man who promised to protect it is privatising it. The man who cut the NHS, not the deficit. Cameron, NHS con man. Now more than ever. Conference, now more than ever, it needs folk with the faith to fight for it. You're its best hope, its only hope. You've kept the faith. Now fight for it, and we will win. Thank you, conference. Thank you very much.